making sure. I'm kind of crooked. Am I? I'm kind of crooked. Oh my god, that just made it so much worse. It's a little bit better. Yeah. Okay. We're going with it. Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or if you have been here before, welcome back. Today we are going to be going over all of the books that I read in June because happy July. What? I can't believe it's July, but I feel like I say that every month. Just like can't believe how fast time flies. I hope everyone had a good June, and if you love reading as much as I do, I hope you had a good reading month. I definitely finally had a really good reading month this month, and I am excited to go over all the books that I read with you guys. I read 5 books this past month in June, and it was actually a really good reading month. So I read a couple standalone books, and then I read a 3-part series, and it was the Summer I Turned Pretty series. So I actually did a reading vlog on that, and that's going to be coming out next. That's going to be my next video. So stay tuned for that because I'm going to upload that pretty much right away after uploading this one, pretty quickly, like within the next day, maybe 2. But hopefully by tomorrow I'll have that one uploaded. So stay tuned for that because I will go more in depth on those videos. If you haven't read that series yet and you really want to, I wanted to read that series because it's summer now and I wanted to save it until then and do a reading vlog for you guys because I watched the first season of the show and then the second season comes out this month in July, and so I wanted to make sure I read the rest of the books before watching the second season and obviously before the third season. So I was super excited to be able to like read those books before going into that. But anyway, so let's get right into it. So the first book that I read was Daisy Jones and the Six, and I talked a little bit about this in a previous video, but I really loved this book. I gave it a 4.5 stars, and I thought that the way that it was laid out, like an interview style, was such a neat way of doing it, just because most books you read aren't like that, and it just felt really realistic. And I know that the book is based on a real band and real singers, but they obviously use different names in this book, and it's loosely based on them, I want to say. There were some pretty accurate parts to it, and I'll put a link below. There's a music video that I want you guys to see. So before I get into that, this book is based on, oh my god, why am I spacing on the band now? Hold on. Who is the band based on? Daisy Jones is based on Stevie Nicks, and Daisy Jones and the Six is based on Fleetwood Mac. So the whole premise of this book is like going through their lives and like starting up as a band all together, like how they came to be a band all together. So it goes through from like the 60s all the way up to present day, and there was just like one twist at the end that I did not see coming, and it was really, I don't know, I loved it. I loved the way that it had like that little, not really a plot twist, but like surprise at the end. It was just really good. I really liked it a lot. I gave it 4.5 stars, like I said, and I can't recommend it enough to read it. I highly recommend it if you have not read it yet. And I haven't watched the series yet because I wanted to read the book before watching the TV series. So now that I finished the book, I definitely want to give the series a try. I heard that the series is obviously a little bit different than the book because that's usually how it goes, but I heard that the TV series is still really good as well. So I'm excited to watch that show and give it a try. Then next, I read House Across the Lake by Riley Sager, and this book, it was so good. I gave it 5 stars. It was so good. There's many plot twists, but they all like pretty much happen at the same time. Like it's one plot twist and then literally the next page is the next plot twist. Like it's just like, what? It throws you for a loop. And I'm pretty sure there's like at least 3 plot twists, and they're all toward the end of the book, but I did not see them coming, and I don't think anyone would be able to. Like if you can, like I would be very surprised, but it was so good. I highly recommend it. So if you haven't heard of this book before. It is a murder mystery book. I don't think it's very suspenseful. It's more just murder mystery. I wouldn't say it's a cozy murder mystery, but kind of like it. Yeah, I would say maybe it is a cozy mystery, but it's not like suspenseful by any means. And I'm not the type of person really to watch a scary movie unless like everyone is wanting to. Like if I'm watching, like if we're picking a movie, like me and my friends are picking a movie, or me and Brennan are picking a movie together, and like there's nothing good out and he really, really wants to see a scary movie, like I still probably won't go. But if I have to, like I'll watch a scary movie, but 9 times out of 10, absolutely not. Honestly, 10 times out of 10, I don't want to watch a scary movie. So this book is about, and why did I already forget her name? Casey Fletcher. So it's about Casey Fletcher. She is a recent widowed actress, and her mom was also a famous actress as well. Her mom recommends that she stay at this lake house to be in a secluded area and just have some privacy and heal and grieve from what she's going through. Moo, get down!
Move, sir. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on. Get down.
I'm just chilling. I'm recording a video, heads up, just so you know. It'll be a short one because it's just the monthly wrap up. So the premise of this book is she had a bad run-in with the press. Shortly after her husband passed, she copes by drinking a lot, and so she's become addicted to alcohol. And she's seen one day like out in public at this restaurant or bar, and she's just like chugging back drinks and stuff, and so it's just a bad run-in with the press. And so her mom recommends that she go stay in the peace and quiet in Vermont at the lake house. But the only unfortunate thing is that that is where her husband died. And so she's like struggling with being able to heal because she's literally in the place where it happened, because he, as far as she knows, drowned in the lake and washed up on shore. And so she is just trying to cope with that, and along come a few neighbors. So she has a neighbor next door, and he's this hot guy that used to be a policeman. And then she has the neighbors across the lake, the house across the lake, so that's where this title comes in. And it's a couple, Tom and Catherine Royce, and they are also pretty famous, well known. Like the wife is a famous model. So the way that Casey passes time is by having a glass of bourbon, sitting on her back porch, and just happens to be looking through her binoculars and watching the couple across the lake, because it's just entertaining. And when she's making a drink one day, she sees Catherine drowning in the lake, and so she runs out to save her and does save her. And so it's just about like her relationship with that couple across the lake and her neighbor, the policeman next door, a retired policeman, and just all of that, and trying to figure out if her husband was murdered or if it was an accident. So it's a really, really good book. Highly recommend. Like I said, I gave it 5 stars. It was so good, and I could not figure out the ending. Like it threw me for a loop. Then I started the Summer I Turned Pretty series, and this was the last 3 books that I read for the month. They were really quick and easy. Like they're all so short to read. Like I think they're all a little bit under 300 pages or just barely 300 pages. So they were really easy and fun to read, and I loved them. They gave such great summer vibes, and they are set mainly at a lake house, and so they were so good. So I have been debating whether I should give my star ratings or not on this video, and I think I'm gonna hold off. I'm not gonna give my star ratings so that you guys can wait and see them in my reading vlog, because I give them at the end in that one. And like I said, that one's gonna be uploaded pretty much in the next day or 2 after this one, so stay tuned for that. But I will give you guys my thoughts on these books. So with the first book, The Summer I Turned Pretty, I had already seen the show, the first season, and it's pretty much based on the first book. There's a little bit from like the second book that you get a glimpse at, but the first season compared to the first book, like I was curious as to like how similar they were going to be. And I will say that there were some, and I do say this in my reading vlog, or I don't say this in my reading vlog, but by the end of the book I realized that like there were some obvious plot points that were in the show but weren't in the book, and at first I thought, like, why the heck would they change those so much? Like, they were like not at all in the book. Like, it was a completely different scenario, completely different scenes in the show compared to the book, and I was so confused by that at first. But honestly, I realized by the end of the book that they weren't very important plot points, and so it wasn't like make or break it wasn't gonna make or break the book compared to the show. Like, the main plot points of the show and where it was headed. So either way, I still really, really loved the first season of the show. I'm so excited to watch the second season. I think it comes out July 14th. Like, it comes out pretty soon. I know for sure this month. So I'm excited to watch the second season. But anyway, if you haven't heard of the Summer I Turned Pretty series before, it is about Belly and her mom and brother and family friends. So there's this family that they've been so close with since Belly can remember. It's her mom's best friend, Susanna. And so it's about Susanna and her boys, her 2 boys, and then Belly and her mom and her brother, Stephen. And every summer they go up to this lake house in Cousins, and they spend the whole summer with Susanna and her 2 boys. So it's just always Belly, her mom, her brother, and then Susanna and her 2 boys, and then the dads are off doing whatever else. And also Belly's mom and dad got divorced, and so that's also another reason why the dad doesn't come up. So they just have it be the moms and the kids for the summer. And so Belly every summer looks forward to going up to this lake house in Cousins and getting to see her second family again and be able to spend the summer with them, because it's always so much fun. So she grew up with the boys, and as she gets older, like, she's always had this burning crush for Conrad, is one of the boys' names. So it's Conrad and Jeremiah. And she's always had a huge crush on Conrad, and this one summer, which is, you know, in this book, she's really feeling like her most confident self, and she's starting to feel really pretty in her own skin and everything, and so she's feeling a little bit more confident, and she wants this summer to be different. And so it's all about, you know, that, and seeing, you know, if Conrad potentially likes her, and, you know, wanting to be with him and all of that stuff. But she has such a close relationship with both the brothers. And so it ends up being a bit of a love triangle, because Jeremiah really likes her, she really likes Conrad, and she, like, no one knows Conrad's feelings and like where he's at and if he likes Belly or not. And so it's just all about the love triangle and everything. So this whole series is a love triangle pretty much. And I will say that they are younger, like, they are teenagers going into 21-year-olds, so it is younger, it is young adult, but I thought that they were really good books and really enjoyed it. But yeah, I won't go into more about It's Not Summer Without You and We'll Always Have Summer, which is the 3rd book. I have them out of order. I won't go into these 2 books just because I don't want to give anything away. But yeah, that is pretty much the gist of what this series is about. And like I said, it just gives all of the warm summer vibes, like kind of like Florida vibes. And I just love all of the like talk about the beach and the waves and the sand and all that stuff and the sunshine. It's just awesome. I love books like that. So highly recommend that series. It was really, really good. And you can see my ratings on those books, like I said, in my reading vlog that's coming up soon. Now we're gonna go through July TBR. And this one is, I'm gonna do another reading vlog, so just be on the lookout for that. This one is gonna be a fun one. I'm excited because I want to reread the Hunger Games series. I recently got the newest book that just came out, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I'm really excited to read it. Oh no, the sticker. I'm gonna take that off later. I hate when stickers are on books. I don't know about anyone else, but I can't stand when the sticker is on the book. So yeah, I recently got this book and I wanna read it before seeing the movie because I can't remember when that comes out, but it comes out in the near future, like comes out soon. So I wanna read this before seeing the movie. So I figured I would do a reading vlog of these, like the whole series. And when I was getting down my books, I noticed that with the first book, The Hunger Games, the pages are so yellow. It's yellowed so much. It smells like that good old book smell. Does anyone else smell their books? You can't not. I mean, like, you can't. You have to. But look at the difference. Can you see how yellow it is compared to the other ones? Hold on, there's a shadow. Look at that. It's so yellow compared to like, this is the newest one. So, oh my gosh. But I love that. I love when books age, and I just like how it looks on my bookshelf. But anyway, so I'm gonna go through and read The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay, and then finish up with The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And I'm so excited to reread these because it's been a long time, and I absolutely loved this series. When the first movie came out, I remember watching the movie and being obsessed with it and deciding, oh my god, I gotta read the books, because I wanted to read them before the rest of the movies came out, because Catching Fire had not come out yet on, like, they had just shown previews and that's it. Not even, because I finished watching Hunger Games. Yeah, I think they were just barely starting to talk about Catching Fire and when that was gonna come out. And I really wanted to read the books and like see the rest of it and everything, especially before the rest of the films came out, because that was such a huge thing with like Twilight, with Harry Potter and everything. And I didn't like jump on the bandwagon when, especially Twilight, like I didn't jump on the bandwagon when those movies were coming out. I hadn't read the books beforehand, and I tried reading the books after I saw the movies and I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why. I kind of want to read them again, but I don't know. It's not going to be anytime in the near future, just because I wasn't as interested in that series as other people were. But Hunger Games I was obsessed with. So I read the other two books, Catching Fire and Mockingjay, before the movies came out and loved it so much. I thought that they stuck so closely to the original storyline of the books, and just thought it was really well done. So I am really excited to go back and read these books, just because I feel like I'm curious to see if like my thoughts have changed on it or not. I feel like they probably haven't, and I still am like a huge fan of the series. I'm gonna be so bummed, honestly, if I'm not a huge fan of the series still. I'm sure I still will be, and will just love the books just as much as I did when I first read them. But yeah, so I'm gonna do a reading vlog on that, and this is gonna be, they're big books, so that's gonna be tough and interesting. So that's like a majority of my TBR for this month, just because like I know that this is gonna take a bit. Like each book is probably gonna take like a week or so, so it'll probably take up most of the month, but I'm gonna read them like one after the next, and they're pretty easy reads because I've already read them once before, so it's not like I have to like learn the characters and learn the world or anything like that. But then next I'm gonna read a romance book, just because I'm gonna need something completely different, change of pace. So I want to read One in Rome, and depending on how quick this book goes, which it should because it's so tiny, then I want to read the second book in the series, because this is now a series. The second book is Practice Makes Perfect, and I'll put a picture right here, but I have heard really good things about it. Practice Makes Perfect just came out, and everyone recently has like talked about When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect. They've talked about those two books a lot. So I want to read these books and give them a try, see if I like them as much as other people do. And that's probably it for my TBR for this month. I know it's kind of short. Oh, and I'm forgetting one other book. Where's my Kindle? So one book I'm reading right now on my Kindle is Kiss of the Selkie. And if you guys remember, I talked about that in my last reading wrap up and TBR for June. And I talked about Kiss of the Selkie and how I wanted to watch or read that book, especially after seeing the live action Little Mermaid, which I did see that movie and it was so good. Highly recommend seeing it if you haven't. It was really well done. So I wanted to read Kiss of the Selkie afterward, just because this book is part of, if you didn't see my last video, this is part of a fantasy series called Entangled with Fae series, and they're all Disney story retellings. So the first book was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, the second one is a Cinderella retelling, the third book is this one, Kiss of the Selkie, and it's a Little Mermaid retelling, obviously. The fourth one is Snow White retelling, and the fifth book and the newest book that just released literally 2 days ago is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, and I'm so excited to get to that book because I grew up loving Sleeping Beauty. Like that was always my absolute favorite movie and favorite princess. I really love this series. I love Disney story retellings, and it's a great way to get into the fantasy genre without being like overwhelmed. Like it's a really great place to start if you've never read fantasy books before. I highly recommend starting with the Entangled with Fae series, especially if you're a big fan of Disney story retellings like I am, or Disney in general. And they do have quite a twist on them, but they have like little hints at, or like nods to the original story. Like with this one, they have an Ursula character in here. They have obviously Ariel, they have Prince Eric, Sebastian, and they do have like different names, but they have like little nods to the original movies and stuff like that. And with each book, you get one of the next characters, main characters in one of the next books. So Maisie is Ariel, and she was in a little bit of the last book, which was the Cinderella retelling, Heart of the Raven Prince. You get a glimpse of Maisie, aka Ariel, in that book, and then you see her and in her own book, obviously, in the next book. So it's really fun. I really like it so far. I'm only 31% through the book, but I'm liking it. Not as much as I liked Curse of the Wolf King or Heart of the Raven Prince, but I am still liking it. And I just got to a part in the book where basically, without explaining the whole story of this book, she is cursed with a fatal kiss. So if she kisses anyone, she kills them with her kiss. And so she's sworn off loving anyone and being in a relationship with anyone, and so she just like avoids all of that. But the character, who's supposed to be Ursula, basically puts a curse on her that she has to kill who's supposed to be Eric with her kiss. And then if she does that, then Ursula will remove her fatal kiss curse so that she can live a life of joy and love and be able to be with whoever she wants and kiss and not worry about killing them. So she'll take away that curse if Maisie, aka Ariel, does this last request for the Ursula character. So it's really interesting. But here's the thing, like the person who's Eric, he's part of this church that like they're trying to basically not auction him off, but like he's trying to find a bride. And so all of these women are coming to meet him and try and be his bride. And so 7 women, including Maisie, because she has to kiss him, so she has to join this trial to like try and become his bride, so that she can get close to him and kiss him and kill him if she wants to remove this curse. And so she joins, and it's giving off 100% the Bachelor vibes. Like they have basically a rose ceremony. They call it the blessing ceremony instead of the rose ceremony. And then they have like all the rules that you have in The Bachelor, like you have to stay on the grounds, and if you like, there's one-on-one dates and then there's group dates, and it's in a certain amount of days, and there's like people will be eliminated at each blessing ceremony, and when it narrows down to the final 2, then you'll find out who wins and who gets to be his bride. And then they have the wedding like that night, but you're all staying on property and you can't leave the property, and there's like the women's quarters and stuff like that. And it's just so funny. It's like literally spot on, the exact same as The Bachelor. And I don't know, I find it so hilarious just reading through it. I can't take it seriously, but it's, I don't know, I find it funny. So anyway, it's like quite literally exactly like that, so it feels like I'm just watching a season of The Bachelor. But anyway, in 7 days, Maisie has to try and win over the prince and just at least be able to kiss him so that she can kill him for something that he did that was wrong, that the Ursula character wants him dead for. So anyway, that is the premise of the story. It's really good so far, but I highly recommend the Entangled with Fae series in general, just because I really like the Disney story retellings. And if you are like me in that sense, then I'm sure you'll like it too. But anyway, that is all of my July TBR. Doesn't feel like a lot because 4 of the books are an entire series, but yeah, I'm really excited to get into those books, and I hope you guys stick around to watch those, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.